Welcome to High EarnHer Podcast. I'm super excited to have you here today with us. Joining us is Andrea Jones. She's a dear friend of mine, and she is one of the best people to talk about what it takes to be a high earner. And so we're going to start this podcast with her and her inspiration. I'm super excited for that. I am your host, Canetha Amour-Porter, and let's get right into it. Good afternoon, Andrea. How are you?
Good afternoon, Canetha. I'm good.
Good. So Andrea is the owner of 3, soon to be 4, Nothing But Cakes. She also sits on several boards. She's a part of a lot of philanthropic things that happen in our Tri-County area. She's not just doing things in Oakland, but she does it in Macomb and also Wayne County. Oh, and Washtenaw, right? And so we have to add that in there. She is a mother of 3 amazing girls. She is a wife. She is a dog mom of 2. Are they still puppies?
Yes, technically.
Okay, so 2 puppies that are extremely cute, but busy. And so I can go on and on about Andrea and her accomplishments, but I will give the floor to her. Tell us something that I haven't said already.
That I left my career in auto after 15 years to jump into bundt cakes. So I'm somewhat of a risk taker, I would call myself.
Oh yeah, that's got, with the questions that I asked, I know that's going to come up, and we're going to talk about that in detail because there's so many women who want to so they see us on social media and the news. Andrea was just on the news this morning, and they aspire. They're like, oh, I want to be like her. Oh, I want to do some things like her. And so as they hear you and hear your story, hopefully this propels them to say, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it too. Let me walk out in faith and take the next steps. So, all right. So we're going to get started with the first question. We're going to talk about career and sacrifice. Can you share a pivotal moment you had to make significant sacrifices to advance?
Yes. I mean, if I'm talking outside of just bakery stuff, like the automotive part of my career, I took a quick pause in automotive and was in sales for which is now called Rocket Mortgage. Back then it was Quicken Loans.
Okay.
And I spent 2 years there. And there were sacrifices made. My husband was in grad school at the time, and luckily we didn't have any children yet, but I did not spend very much time with him at all. I was so dedicated to having an established client list and to take good care of them that I spent literally like 12 and 14-hour days in the office with Quicken.
Yeah, definitely. Because in those 2, I know that Quicken is a great company to work for, especially for people who are dedicated. And the benefits I hear. Tell me about some of the benefits that you're able to get by being dedicated.
Well, first of all, it's a very good workplace culture. Like I felt like it was an extension of college, and I was a lot younger back then, but everyone was very close on our sales teams. They were very customer focused. Dan Gilbert would come out on the floor from time to time back then because it was just one building.
Right.
It was the isms that they lived by in the business really had a longer impact on me than I ever thought they would. Once I had experienced that and how much they cared about us following those and what that meant for the company, everywhere I went after that, they were always in my head.
I love that. I love that when you left a company, those things stuck with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, it'll stick with you for life, and you can use it in different parts of your in your life, your career, and your home life as well. So talk a little bit about that. You guys are still married now, so it did pay off. And you have 3 beautiful kids, like I talked about, but the balancing act. So when you were talking about there was a hard time, you had to sacrifice maybe some time with your husband at that time, but you had a chance to, or you were able to, because there wasn't kids in the picture. Let's talk about balancing act. And we all know that can be very difficult, yes, especially for go-getters, for moms who run businesses and wives and trying to do all that. How do you balance the demands of high achieving career with your needs of your family?
It's very hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I have to make sure that I allot time for specific things and that I stick to it as much as I can. I'm a doer. So all fires that come up, I'm trying to put out, even if I'm not necessarily the person who needs to put it out, right? So I have to learn to really stay with the boundaries that I have set for other people to do their job and me not jumping in ahead of them. And then giving them space to figure out a solution on their own before I do come in. And that gives me actually the opportunity to kind of sit back more and pay more attention to where I'm spending my time throughout my day and making sure that I'm spending that dedicated time with my family. Now, I have a support system, which some people don't have, and I'm extremely grateful for it. My parents are super supportive. When my husband my husband also had his own career, when either of us can't jump in to grab a kid from, be it after school activity or whatnot, they are quick to jump in and help out. And they also help me out at the bakery during major holidays. So very thankful for that. I will say that making that time is very important. Our kids grow up faster than we think, and it has a bigger impact than we realize sometimes. And I also allow my kids to work in the business with me if they show an interest and to do different things.
I love seeing us as entrepreneurs, allowing our kids to come in and seeing what it is that we do, right? And they understand it a little bit more when you're like, hey, I have this going on, I have this going on. When they're a part of it, they understand it. If they're not a part of it and they don't see it, they're like, oh, you're just trying to leave me, or you just don't want to be here. It's like, no, I have responsibilities. And I get it. I'm right there with you, the balancing act. And I thought that now that my kids are all 18 and older, that it gets easier, but it doesn't, because now that I have 3 kids that live outside of the house, 2 kids that are in the house, but doing various things, I have to schedule time to spend with them, or it'll be like days or weeks, a week that will go by. And I'm like, wait, who didn't I talk to? I didn't talk to one of them. Right. Yeah. And so I have to be very intentional of making sure I have that time with them. So I don't know if it gets easier.
I can see that. I stopped cooking a while ago. I couldn't keep up with that. But I find that we all kind of gravitate toward the kitchen. And so if I'm trying to eat healthier, and so if I'm taking time to make a special meal in there, that's when I end up spending a lot more time with my kids.
Okay.
So who knew that me just trying to be healthier and be more diligent about making specific things would open up for me to spend more time with them and then be more curious about what I'm doing.
That's true. I think every family gathering, you can have plenty of space, but everybody ends up in the kitchen. All right. So we're going to talk about self-care strategies. And I know that you do a lot to make sure that you're able to run on a high level. So give us some of your what do you think is self-care for you that is crucial to sustaining your success?
Mental breaks. I'm someone that is always on the go. I'm always thinking about something. I'm thinking about things in my sleep. And it's hard for me to turn my brain off sometimes. And so being deliberate about taking mental breaks is something that I've actually seen a difference in. So like, instead of me continuing to work through midnight, I will take a half hour and watch a show. That way it's not in front of my computer. I'm actually watching something else and I can pivot my brain. And it's important to do that. I feel guilty when I first started doing it. I'm like, I don't know why I'm sitting here watching Netflix when I know I need to be on this stuff.
I love that. I do that too. And when I do that, it has to be like, it can't be something that's thought-provoking. It has to be something that's nice, cute, like a silly little sitcom. So I'm not thinking too much into it, because if it's thought-provoking, then it gets my brain going again. Right. But it has to be something cute and like
no deep documentaries for that half hour.
No, because I'm like, how do I need to implement this in my life?
Yeah, my go-to is like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy on Netflix.
I like that. That's a good one. So I'll tell you a couple of mine. I love young Sheldon. I don't know why, because I don't like the other one I don't even care for the other one that much, but that's a spinoff of him younger, right? And so I do like that. So Help Me Todd. That is hilarious to me. So it's just like those silly ones where it's cute. They always solve their mystery at the end, or it's always a good ending. So yeah, I totally get that. So yes, Netflix plays a part in our mental health.
Yeah, taking those mental breaks makes a difference. I also have a girlfriend that encourages me to do things. We'll go to a med spa that we're members of, and we'll schedule time to get an IV together and also get like compression and things like that. And we're just back there just cracking up. They love it when we come. We're so entertaining. But that's just like an hour in the weekend or even during the week, we've done it sometimes where we're just both not working and catching up and still taking care of ourselves at the same time, right?
Yeah,
We're being hydrated and ready to go.
But I love that you say that, because sometimes our self-care is to be able to get with a good friend where we can just be ourselves. We don't have to be on. We don't have to be anybody's boss or anything. And we can just sit and be and laugh. Like laughter is great medicine.
Yes.
So it's great medicine for the soul. So yeah, you're like doing double duty. Double duty. All right, let's talk about your spiritual growth. How has your spiritual journey influenced your approach in leadership in your career? And can you share how it helps you in your day-to-day responsibilities?
So I'm a big believer in doing the right thing. And I thought I knew what that meant. And it has more meaning to it now after the experiences that I've had than it did before. And just being in touch with myself and who I am lately has really been helpful and beneficial for my leadership style, helping others discover the same thing sooner than I did about themselves. And so I spend a lot of time with my team, utilizing resources to help with their professional growth and personal growth in some cases, through those resources, and then using them also for myself. But I have come a long way with my spiritual growth, and I have always believed in myself. But now it's like at a different level. It's like where I'm completely comfortable sitting in who I am as an individual and leaning into my gifts that may be of an annoyance to someone else, or they may think is extra, that I know is doing still good. So that's important to me, being comfortable with who I am. And instead of thinking before, when things would happen for me, who do I think I am? No, this is who I am. And this is why I am worthy of my success.
Definitely. I love the fact that you said that, because I feel like early in our careers, especially when we're achieving things, we feel like that. We feel like, or we're embarrassed, or we don't want people to talk about it because we feel like, I don't want to take that. Like, it's like, no, you work hard. You take it, right?
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that you're at a place now where you're like, yes, I am a boss and I do good things and I'm amazing in my community. But it's not by chance. It's not a lottery. It's not like, oh, yeah, I won this or I did this. No, you work very, very hard. So you deserve everything that you get. So good. I love that. I love hearing that. All right. Lessons and letting go. So sometimes we know we have to let go to grow.
Yes.
So what have you had to let go of to grow personally and professionally?
Personally, I had to address some childhood lessons, experiences, trauma that have contributed to the person that I am. I had to recognize what the source was of, why do I respond this way to things like this? Or why do I care so much about that and I have a hard time letting it go? And that work was necessary. It's hard. Because you don't want to relive things like that, and it's upsetting. But at the same time, understanding the source can do so much. It's a relief, one,
right?
And it gives you clarity, And it gives you a path forward when you have both of those things, right? You understand what happened, how that impacted you, and now what can you do about it moving forward? And so I've spent a lot of time on that. I believe in surrounding yourself with positive people, friends, and resources. I have a therapist, I have a life coach, I have a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
I have all these things.
Yes.
And then I take other like classes for entrepreneurs, and I'm still educating myself about being an entrepreneur now 5 years in, because there's always more to learn, and it all contributes to my personal and professional growth. And I can very confidently say that by putting in that work, it has allowed me to let more things go. It's time. It's time to leave behind me all these other things and move forward and be the eagle that I believe that I am, and not get down in the weeds.
Yep, I love that. So true. Many people, or many very influential people, talks about you're only gonna your business is only gonna grow as much as you grow personally, and it's very true. There should never be a time where you're like, "Oh, I've arrived, I'm all set." It's like, no, you may just got good at that, but you got some more things to work on. And I totally, I'm right there with you. I'm always learning and growing. And even when I love that you said that you had to learn some things about your childhood. And that's the same thing with me. And for me, I had to sit in some things, and I feel like it becomes now a choice whether I want to continue in this behavior. Before, it wasn't a choice because I didn't know any better. Right. And so when I'm still doing the behavior that does not become of me, then I'm choosing to do that versus me just doing it because that's all I know. And so it helped me to be like, oh, wait, I'm not going to choose this, So I love that you talked about that. But yeah, that's really good. Now, professionally, what have you had to let go?
I've had to let go of trying to be the person to do everything and allow people to fail. That's really how I learn. I don't repeat mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm constantly trying to jump in front of it for them so they don't have to experience disappointment, I'm really not truly helping them. They need to feel it so it stays with them like it stays with me. And then they'll have the same sense of urgency for it not to be repeated as I have. And that's been very hard for me to sit back and do because I care so much about my team members. My business is a safe haven for my team to be able to completely be themselves and to lean into their skills, the things that they're good at, the things that they're not so good at, they can sharpen with us, and it's a safe place. And so if I continue to jump in front of them and fix it for them, that's not helping them learn. But what's great about it is that the discussion is being had and things are being identified, but they're still left to do it on their own. And then they come to me. So it sounds more like this. What it used to be is, Andrea, the oven is not operating correctly. Oh my gosh, let me come in here. Let me touch this. Let me touch that. Did we do this? Okay, do this and do this. As of now, it's Andrea, the oven's not operating properly. Here are the 3 things I think it might be that I already looked at. What would you add to that?
Mm-hmm. That's a big difference. I'm going through a book series called Boundaries, and there's a part in the book that talks about hurt and harm, and sometimes it's necessary to hurt people. We're not doing it intentionally, but we never want to harm people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you go to the dentist and he's drilling in your tooth, oh, is he hurting you? Oh yeah. But he's not harming you. He's actually doing that to help you not to get infections and all the other things, or when we go work out, does it hurt us sometimes? Yes, but it doesn't harm us. So that helped me like say, wait a second, I need to do this. It may hurt, but I'm doing it out of love, but it won't harm them.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it for them is the harming. Like I'm not teaching them how to do it. So we just talked about that. So I'm glad that you brought that up as well. Ladies, we have all heard that having the right connections is everything in life. I don't know about you, but I have found this to be true. It's hard to get connected if you don't know how. That is why Amour Women wants to help you get connected to the right businesses, groups, and people that will make your lives better. We are women, and we want to connect you to new opportunities. So join and start getting connected today. All right, we're going to talk about role models. Who are your role models and how have they influenced your views and balance on career success with personal and spiritual well-being?
I'm a huge Oprah Winfrey fan. I have been for a very long time. Her journey is amazing to me, and I can relate to certain things way earlier in her career. The people that doubted her skill, those that would tell her what she couldn't do, she proved all of them wrong and then some. And then she's like a complete go-giver. The way she turns it around and gives it back to others that are trying to come up. That woman spends a lot of time building people up and helping them get the personal growth that they need and spiritual growth that they need. And so I want to be that when I grow up. I want to be the person that has provided a safe place for others, help them with their opportunities, but also do it just easily without expecting anything in return. Like, I'm just giving this to you because I want you to have it and I want others to have it too. There's been people who have crossed my path. Mm-hmm. Tanya Hill is one of them. She is a business owner, entrepreneur, and I met her through someone else, and the woman just gave me everything that I needed to explore opportunities to do business with the airport. And she just gave all of it. She even got on the phone with me with the brand to talk about why I was the right fit as a business owner to do it. She does not know me that well. And I just think it says everything that her automatic, I'm saying automatic, I mean, she met me, but like her belief in me after spending such a short period of time with me, for her to step out and put her name next to mine is just everything. And I'm like, she is such a just gangster go-giver. Like, she's just out there. And I can't even thank her enough. But it reminds me of my father, who has always been that way, and helping others. And what else that I think is difficult is also, this is gonna also tie into me talking about my personal growth and leaning into who I am and my skills. You know, my dad used to get the side eye from a lot of family members and a lot of other people in business. Why'd you help that person? Why'd you help that person? You can't help everybody. You can't just for everybody. That person probably won't even pay you back. And he's like, I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. And it would just there'd be so much judgment that would come his way. Like, yeah, you're helpful, but like, you're also letting people take advantage of you. Well, when you give, you're not expecting anything back. And that's what some other people don't get, because that's not where their heart is coming from in the first place. Yeah. And so me seeing that and being around that, it allows me to easily identify it in other people. And I'm just even more grateful. And that's what I want to do.
I love that. So, I'm going to say some stuff. So yes, Tanya Hill is amazing. And you don't have to know you long to see how, what an amazing person that you are and how you do for others. So even, I've heard people say, when I get my business to $1 million, when I do this, I'm going to give back, right? Off the jump, you have been giving back since I've known you, right? And you didn't say,
I was giving back when I was in the negative.
Right. And so you talk about giving, Tanya Hill probably sensed that about you too, that this is a giving individual. She is amazing. She's a hard worker. That's why she can vouch. And I'm going to tell you this, she's not just meeting people randomly and putting her name on their stuff. There's a reason. There's something special about you that allowed her to see it and to be like, yes, I will definitely vouch for her. So kudos to you. You talk about Oprah Winfrey giving back. And I feel like that is who you are at this level. And the higher and higher that you get, you're going to give back just like Oprah does. One of the things I do appreciate about Oprah Winfrey, is that when she learns something, when she gets connected to somebody new who's amazing, if she discovers something, instead of holding it for herself, she gives it away. She's like, "Oh, you need to do this, da 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 da." And I just watched her special with the weight loss. And so she did this whole special, and I love the special because she was like, "Look, this is what I've learned." And she didn't say, "Oh, well, Weight Watchers isn't working." So she's like, "No," she helped them to get a new program. And so it's like, all high tides, when wait, what's the saying? And I just said it earlier today. But anyways, when she rises, everyone else rises along with her, right? And so high tides rises all ships.
Yes.
And so I love that about her. But that you have the same characteristics. So I love that about you as well. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Impact of success on relationships. And we all know, being women, 9 times out of 10, we're the first ones in our family. If we're not the first ones, we're the first woman in our family. And then we're the first in our friend groups to accomplish so many different things. It takes a toll on our relationships sometimes, just like you said it did for your dad. How has that impacted your life with your rise to success in your relationships with family?
I mentioned before, I'm leaning more into the things about myself that I don't believe I should be trying to change, that others might not be like, why do you do that? Why do you always do this? And I'm like, people are benefiting from it. So are you. So, let's just keep it real. But like that was always there. I just wasn't always able to articulate it, like put my finger on it and say what it was. And when I decided that I wanted to do this business and nothing but cakes, and I just knew in my heart and my gut, I didn't have any data. I was just like, this is what's supposed to happen. And there were naysayers, and they're like, you can't do this. Someone actually laughed at me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is such the fire I need to prove you wrong. Yeah. And I did. And I just feel like I told my cousin also owns Nothing But Cake Bakeries, and we started together. And I told her, I'm like, if I'm going to bet on someone, I'm going to bet on myself, and you should bet on yourself too, because we know what we're capable of. But, that person who's laughing and saying, oh, that's what you're doing, do they know everything that we're capable of? I don't think so. And so I think that is something that's very key to stay with you, that you need to follow all the way through with, because it could be some of the closest people to you who just don't get it. And they don't get being an entrepreneur. Everyone is not an entrepreneur, and everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everyone doesn't have the stomach or the heart for it, because it's hard work. Could I have stayed with my corporate job and been real comfortable? Yes, very comfortable. I opened right before the pandemic. I could have been so comfortable.
Yes.
But that's not what I chose to do, because I knew that wasn't what was really right for me. And I'm not afraid of the work. Right. So it's not for everyone. And I think that if you stay the course, be true to what you believe, trust your gut. That's what works for me still. Then all I can say is I've done everything I can to the best of my ability, and I'm happy with that. I can sleep at night knowing I gave it my all, and I followed my gut, and I did these things. So that worked for me. There's definitely times where my husband probably thought that this was a hobby. He probably thought I was just going to have one bakery and get my fun in and just be like, oh, that was great. He didn't think I would continue to open bakeries. And then have the audacity to do it like multiple in a year. My kids are now just like, I'm like, okay, so there's another baker. They're like, oh, come on, really? Where this time? Like, it's not for everyone. And other entrepreneurs people who are not entrepreneurs don't always necessarily understand entrepreneurs. I have really close friends of mine who are still like doing things like, you want to hang out? And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's before Mother's Day. Why do you think I'm available? What do you mean? People just don't get it. Like, so,
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I love what you said about that. Even the beginning, there was obstacles. And what I had to learn myself is that A lot of times when family or friends say something, it's not to hurt you, but it's their own limited beliefs
Yes.
that they're putting on you. So they're scared for you.
Yes.
And they're doing it out of love because they care for you, even
Right.
though it looks so totally different.
Yeah.
It just looks negative and like, oh, they're trying to stop me. No, they have limited beliefs. And I had to understand that because my feelings was hurt. Like, I've
Yes.
supported everything you've done. And how can you
Yeah.
not support me? Like, what?
Limited beliefs, and they wouldn't take that risk.
Yes. They wouldn't take the risk. And just like you, my husband probably was like, okay, this is cute, right? She has a heart for women. Okay. But I love the fact that we do have supportive husbands that support us in this journey as well. So I tell you, okay, so this is the last one. And I kind of know of some of these things, but I can't wait for everyone else to hear this. So tell us about some future aspirations, right? And so looking ahead, what are your aspirations, not only for your career, but also your personal life and spiritual growth? How do you plan to achieve these goals?
So I'm putting in the work right now of learning and tapping into other resources to be able to create a team that can sustain without me being present.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that the culture that I've created in my original location is replicated in my additional locations without me having to be present. And that means that allows me to work on my business instead of in my business. And that's a game changer. Being able to have access to really have the conversations that I would like to have, to tap different ideas and things that I would like to try that I think are options and possibilities without worrying about being sucked back into the bakery where I won't be able to really see those things through because I got a frosting bag in my hand. And so that's where I want to get to. I'm almost there. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a frosting bag in my hand right now, and I didn't earlier when I was at the bakery, but sometimes I have to step in and be helpful where I can. And part of that too is me. I have some bakery guilt, I call it. Like there's mommy guilt, there's bakery guilt, where I want to show all the people I can do this too. Don't you forget, I know how to do this.
And I'm the fastest, maybe.
Yeah, I ain't as fast as them right now. I'm a little slower as I get older. But like, I'll get in there with them. I'll be in the trenches with them. I know what it's like. I'm not just asking them to do something that I can't do myself or know what it means for them to do. And that's where I wanna be. There's a lot of who I never thought that I would be in the position with this brand. I just told you I felt that I needed to do it, but I didn't realize that I would find so much joy and fulfillment in creating opportunities for other people with my business, with this cake. And so I want to continue to do that on a larger scale. I would like to have potentially 6 to 8, let's just call it 6, be conservative, locations, so that they can be strong in strong markets, so they can build a lot of revenue so that we can have a nonprofit location in the city. That is my end game. And if it's not nothing but cakes, that's okay. But that's still the end game, for there to be some business in the city that is giving back and feeding the community surrounding it. And when I say that, I don't mean just giving people cake, like that's what they need to eat every day to live. I mean, working, partnering with the local organizations for that community.
Yeah, I love that. See, I love your heart. I love who you are, the leader that you are. Thank you so much for being my guest. And hopefully, I know that there's someone out there that's listening to this and getting inspired by the things that you share with us today. So I'm telling you, you're always inspiring, you're always moving and growing, and you're always sharing. And so I appreciate that in you. So thank you so much again for joining us for High EarnHer Podcast. We're super excited that you've taken the time to listen to these amazing stories. Thank you, Andrea, again. And so we're going to have her bakeries all listed, right? In a minute, we're going to have, like go to the next page to see all her listings. But we're going to share all her listings for you to go purchase something for Mother's Day that's coming up, every birthday, graduations, baby showers, think of Nothing But Cakes. Think of Andrea, and they have the cutest decorations. Oh, and even weddings. They do wedding cakes as well. So make sure you check them out. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.